All right, let's take a look at my predictions of the 2020 AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. Remember, you can watch the pay-per-view on Saturday, November 7th. Anywhere that's going to be live at Daly's Place. BR Live is kind of the place where you go to get it. The buy-in will start at 7 p.m. This is the latest card, so let's break it down. And I really wish we had pay-per-view pick 'em up, which is coming, and also our AEW fantasy application, fantasy wrestling app up. But we should hopefully get it, by the next pay-per-view. That's the goal, is to have it ready by then, at least a beta version. All right, so first up, we got Jon Moxley in an I Quit match versus Eddie Kingston. I'd be really stunned to see Eddie Kingston win this one out, but I'm going with winner Jon Moxley. For the Women's Championship, Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose. Really not much of a build-up between these two at all. I mean, they've wrestled before, but it's like basically like, okay, who are we going to have? I doubt Shida loses, but hopefully this will make something new come out of this. We'll see where that goes, like Thunder Rosa if she came in, Serena Deeb. She definitely has other people, but yeah, the build-up to this match has basically been non-existent. But I'm going to go with Hikaru Shida on this one. TNT Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin. Cody just got the belt back. I assume they want to keep him with the belt for a long time. He's got the Nightmare family. He added people to the Nightmare family. Maybe the idea is Cody kind of branches off and you have a feud between the Dark Order and the Nightmare family, and Darby Allin gets the TNT Championship. This one is one where I think maybe it could go to Darby Allin. And especially because AEW has been criticized a little bit for all WWE guys essentially having all the belts. This would kind of quiet that. Though Darby Allin really hasn't had much of a feud. There really hasn't been a build-up to this match either. But if I'm a betting man, I would assume Cody holds on to the title. But then what do you do with Darby Allin? I think you could go a big run with Darby Allin and Ricky Starks for the TNT Championship later on. That's a potential thing. But who's Cody going to feud with next? And it potentially could be another feud with the Dark Order as Brody Lee wants his championship back, something along those lines. AEW World Tag Team Championship match. It really should be the Young Bucks. I mean, the Young Bucks have yet to get any gold. This whole stipulation that they won't get the title if FTR just kind of basically came in and got the belts with no one stopping them. The Bucks, I think, should win this one. However, I have a feeling they're going to go with FTR, and FTR will continue. But then who does FTR feud with after this? They can't really feud with the Young Bucks. That's if the Bucks win, and they should win. The Bucks really should be the AEW Tag Team Champions. Then they guys can go back at it again. If the Bucks lose this one, then FTR is basically beating everybody in the company, and then what's the point? So I think the Young Bucks. I'm picking the Young Bucks to win this match. Next up, World Championship Eliminator Final, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. I am going this one, Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega is ready to be a bad guy and ready to be a top guy going into 2021. To get back to his original gimmick where he was one of the biggest stars in the world. He was the biggest star outside of anybody in WWE. Put him back in that spot. Let him have one big run again this year. He doesn't need to tag with Page anymore. Page can go off and do his own thing. Who knows what that will be. This is Kenny Omega's time. And 2021 should be Kenny Omega's year. He is a main event people want to come see, watch. And he hasn't really been used that on BTE. He's been kind of a goofball with segments. It's time to unleash Kenny Omega on AEW and the AEW world and the pro wrestling world in the United States. The Elite Deletion match, I assume Matt Hardy is going to win this one. It'll be in his home turf. Sammy Guevara will still get beat up. I think this will be good. And I think this is smart to do to allow them to tape it because Hardy, I think, is just beat up. And I don't even know if we really need him on the roster anymore. His gimmick is kind of confusing. It's like, are you delete Matt Hardy, or maybe that doesn't work now because there's no fans in the stadiums. Like, I'm not really sure where we're going with Matt Hardy. This is to just close out, hopefully, because of what happened the last pay-per-view with these two guys. So this will probably close it out. But I think Matt Hardy is going to get this one because it's going to be in his home turf. Really, if you really want to get Sammy Guevara over, you have him win this one to make it interesting. Remember, we don't want predictability. Singles match, if MJ wins, he can join the Inner Circle. A slow, no build-up to this one. I mean, this has been, I guess, a pretty good build-up to this match. I don't see MJF joining the Inner Circle. That would be very strange, unless they were planning on something else, or if they're planning to like get rid of the Inner Circle. They felt like it's stale going into 2021, and maybe they want to do something different. But I think MJF has a title run with something else. I don't see him and Chris Jericho teaming, though. It would make for great television. I think Chris Jericho wins. Chris Jericho has lost a couple times. I think it's time for him to get back in the win column, and he takes the win with beating MJF. Finally, the buy-in. I'm sure we'll have other matches too, but Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. Good to see John Silver getting a little push there, but Orange Cassidy definitely, he's had a nice little run for a while there. Orange Cassidy will get the win over John Silver, and that is my predictions sure to go wrong when it comes to the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view.